Safeguarding Future, Trafficking, Surrogation, Child Adoption. It will be conducted by none other than Maini Mohanto, editor of Nandini. We have a very interesting panelist here, Dr. Divya Gupta, as a dedicated member of National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, works tirelessly to ensure the welfare and rights of children are safeguarded in India. I request you, madam, to please come on stage. I request Maini Mohanto to felicitate. Excuse me. Dr. Sangeeta Goswami is the driving force behind Mind India, actively contributing to mental health awareness and advocacy, promoting positive mental well-being across the country. I welcome you here. I request Maini Mohanto to felicitate Dr. Sangeeta Goswami. The third panelist is Miguel Das, a passionate advocate and founder of UTSA, plays a vital role in uplifting underprivileged communities and empowering youth through education and social initiatives. I welcome you, Miguel. Now it's over to you, Maini Mohanto, to conduct the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Smitaki. Good evening, everyone. This is my privilege to be among you wonderful people. Especially my dear students, thank you so much for sparing your valuable study time for us. So, my guest, Smitaki, already introduced. First of all, the subject. All of us know that every child has rights, and every government in the world promises to protect, respect, and fulfill these rights. Yet they are still violated. Our Constitution is dedicated to outlining these rights. To discuss the topics, Smitaki already said, we are joined by a very distinguished guest. They have already introduced from NCPCR member, Dr. Divya Gupta, Dr. Sangeeta Goswami. She is a counseling psychologist from Mind India. Miguel Cue, he is a child rights activist from UTSA. So thank you all for joining. So my first question to maybe all of you, because your opening remarks. So we used to hear a joke when we were in college. It's like that, two guys they chat. One asked, hey, do you know what is the difference between heaven and hell? Then another guy said, yeah, here is heaven, here is hell. If you can spend your childhood in Germany, young age in USA, and old age in India, it's heaven. And if you need to spend your childhood in India and old age in USA, it's hell. So it's a jokes apart, but I just want to ask all of you your opening remarks, Dr. Divya first. So how do you like to define child rights and child protection? Yeah.
So first of all, thank you very much. I must congratulate Pratidin and thank them, because normally in conclaves you don't have sessions like this ever. So somebody has even thought of talking about child rights in a conclave is a sheer matter of concern, applaud, And I really must thank them for even thinking about including this as a session. So thank you very much for having us here on this very, very pertinent topic. Very, very pertinent topic. That's one. And two, as you said, that no, I don't agree. Because of the fact that I was recently in US. And it was Las Vegas airport. The Vegas airport had big, huge hoardings saying that stop buying girl child. This came as a shock to me. I still have a picture of that in my phone. This came as a shock to me. We talk about Western world. We talk about them thinking very high. पता नहीं किस pedestal पे हमने उनको बिठाया हुआ है और हम सोचते हैं कि वो बहुत civilized society है, बड़ी advanced society है, बहुत अच्छे हैं वहाँ पर. No. But if in Vegas you get such kind of a poster all along when they say that stop buying girl child, इसका मतलब वो किस धरातल में कहाँ नीचे जा चुके हैं कल्पना करना मुश्किल है. हम जब बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ का अच्छा रिजल्ट देखते हैं तो हमको लगता है कि नहीं, हमने बहुत अच्छा कर लिया है, हम बहुत आगे जा रहे हैं, बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं. कम से कम हमने रिवर्सल तो करा, एक मेयर थॉट से हमने उसको रिवर्सल कर दिया. सो इफ़ यू हैव अ विजन, इफ़ यू हैव अ कमिटमेंट, इफ़ यू हैव some kind of a thought that you could take it forward, then of course a change in the society can really happen. And we have seen this happening. So think positive, be positive, and
sure,
we can bring about the change.
Scenario is changed nowadays,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Dr. Sangeeta, coming to you, the same question and just to add the question, how do you feel the size of the problem now? Right.
Okay. সকলোকে নমস্কাৰ জনাইছো আৰু প্ৰতিদিন মিডিয়া নেটৱৰ্কক ধন্যবাদ জনাইছো এই নিমন্ত্ৰণৰ বাবে. And I was also going through, a few of the conversations and what the wonderful debates that were happening, and really appreciate that this kind of a conclave has come to Delhi, and you have been doing it. And I would like to congratulate Meenakshi and her team. A big hand for them, please. They have been working so hard. I could see all of them, doing so much of work for us. Coming to child rights and child protection, when you say that, there's a thing that we talk about, and we say that if you're not on the table, maybe probably you're on the menu. So children are that. And as stakeholders, I think it's very, very important for us to talk about them, to create a table for them. So I think keeping that in mind, we need to look at child rights and child protection from that perspective. UNCRC at a COE, child rights, rights to survival, rights to participation, development. And child protection talks about basically talking about those rights and how you are going to protect them. But when you are talking about them, as a psychologist, I have to talk about the mental health of the child. And when you're talking about the mental health of the child, it's very important for us to understand the holistic health of the child. It is not only the physical concerns that we have. Even when we are young mothers and young parents, we do go ahead and we talk about a lot about the physical health of the child. We look at the milestones of the child. But what is happening to the child cognitively? The thinking processes. And if you're looking at a child, 0 to 5 years, we call it, in our language, the golden years. And these golden years is because anything that you are giving as an input is something that is going to be there with the child throughout life. And also to understand that যেতিয়া আমি মানসিক স্বাস্থ্য বুলি আমি কওঁ, মানসিক যিখিনি ৰোগ আহে, সেই disorders-খিনি, it usually comes up around adolescent phase, which is very sad, but it is so. And 13% of the global burden of disease is actually part of this mental health disorders. And that is why it becomes more of a public health issue and a concern. আৰু আমি সেইটো হিচাপে যদি আমি চাবলৈ যাওঁ যে শিশুৰ কাৰণে বহুতখিনি ডেভেলপমেণ্ট হৈছে আৰু এতিয়া কিছুমান আপোনাৰ লিগেল এৰিয়াজো আহিছে. ইট হেজ বিন ইভলভিং. We are talking, Miguel has been very actively working on JJ Act, POCSO Act. Apart from that, the new Mental Health Act 2017 যিটো আছে তাতো ল'ৰা ছোৱালীৰ কাৰণে ল'ৰা ছোৱালী মানসিক স্বাস্থ্যৰ ওপৰত বহুত জোৰ দিছে. And the new act which has come out for the NEP Act, for the school, they have emphasized on social emotional learning of children. And if we are able to get that, তেতিয়াহ'লে psychosocial aspects হিচাপে বহুতখিনি আমি ডেভেলপমেণ্ট আমি পাম আৰু সেইটোৱে মোৰ আশা বুলি কওঁ.
নিশ্চয়. থেংক ইউ সংগীতা. মিগুৱেলৰ ওচৰত আহিছোঁ. আপুনি চাইল্ড ৰাইট এক্টিভিষ্ট হিচাপে বহুতখিনি কাম কৰি আছে আৰু শেহতীয়াকৈ এটা যে অসমত খুব চাঞ্চল্যকৰ ঘটনা হৈছিল চিকিৎসক দম্পতীৰ শিশু নিৰ্যাতনৰ যিটোৱে গোটেই দেশ জোকাৰি গৈছিলে, সেই ঘটনাটোত আপুনি সেই শিশু দুটি উদ্ধাৰৰ সৈতে যথেষ্ট আপুনি পৰিশ্ৰম কৰিছিল. সেই ঘটনাটোৰ ৰেফাৰেঞ্চত মই সুধিবলৈ বিচাৰিছোঁ যে সেই ট্ৰমা বা সেই ইম'চনেল যিটো ক্ৰাইচিছ হয় সেই শিশুবিলাকৰ কেনেকৈ হেণ্ডেল কৰিব লাগে আচলতে?
First of all, thank you, Pratidin Time, for having me as a part of this conclave. যোনটো প্ৰশ্ন মাইনিবাদ আমি কৰিলা, ফাৰ্ষ্ট মই জাষ্ট শিশু অধিকাৰৰ কথাটো কৈ ল'ব খুজিছোঁ. যিহেতু মই এক্টিভিষ্ট, মই ভাবোঁ যে যেতিয়া অডিয়েঞ্চ আহে, স্পেচিয়েলি য়াং অডিয়েঞ্চ, তেওঁলোকে শিশু অধিকাৰৰ অৰ্থটো কি বুজি পাব লাগে. বিশেষকৈ আমি ভাবোঁ শিশু So I'm mixing it with Assamese and because most of the...
That's why she doesn't understand.
Yes.
I said I'll translate.
I just asked that if you could translate something for me.
So শিশুৰ কথা ক'লে generally সাধাৰণতে আমি ভাবোঁ যে এইবিলাক কোন বেলেগ হয়, they are not us. As if we have never been children. So we look at children as aliens. মানে এইবিলাক বেলেগ বস্তু, বেলেগ species, right? But are they different species? Today, everyone sitting in this room, no matter how powerful you are, how influential you are, or how well you have done in life, all of them is connected with your experience as a child, right? Including your relationships, Junbilak, in your friend circles, in colleges, the way you interact with your friends, the way you form groups in friendships. These are all connected with your childhood experience. Number one, we are what we are today because what we were as children, right? So we are childhood is a part of us. So children are not to be looked at someone else. Now once we realize this, we realize that children like to be treated as we like to be treated. Or as we would have liked to be treated. Jetia ami horu amar hoikhobot enukwa kisman families ase jot khub beya mane abusive eta environment hoy. মাৰ পিঠ ৰুমত বন্ধ কৰি দিয়ে 8 ঘণ্টা, খাব নিদিয়ে, জোৰকে চুলি কাটি দিয়ে শিশুসকলৰ. এজ ইফ দে আৰ, যেতিয়া আমি সুধো পেৰেণ্টছক যে ৱাই ডু ইউ ডু দিছ, ক'ব হোৱাট ইজ ইয়ৰ প্ৰব্লেম, মোৰহে বাচ্চা, মোৰ সম্পত্তি, মই যি কৰোঁ. চ' চিলড্ৰেন, শিশুসকলক সদায় দে ইউজ টু ট্ৰিট এজ প্ৰপাৰ্টিজ. এতিয়া লিগেল পাৰ্চপেক্টিভ, ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল ল যেতিয়া আহি গ'ল, চিলড্ৰেন আৰ নট ইয়ৰ প্ৰপাৰ্টিজ এনিম'ৰ. চিলড্ৰেন আৰ হিউমেন বিংছ having their own set of rights, and each one of us sitting here are obligated towards fulfilling the rights of child. Basically doing to children what we would have liked people to do unto us when we were children. So this is very important to understand. So like law, legal, sob ahi thakibo, but jitu moi bhal pao, the way I like to be treated, you should also treat little children. Not as properties, but as human beings having their own set of rights. Coming back to this famous story, Juntur, the children of that psychologist in Guwahati city, where this one of the gross forms of psychiatrist and Dr. Kapil, তাতে কি হৈছিলে, শিশুসকল আগতে মানে কি হয়, যেতিয়া শিশুসকলক এনেকুৱা মাক দেউতাকে মাৰে, আমি যেতিয়া ইণ্টাৰভিন কৰোঁ, আমাক খুব গালি দিয়ে, তোমালোকৰ কি, মই যি কৰোঁ, ৰাইট? কিন্তু সেইটো কৰোঁতে ফাইনেলি আমি গুৱাহাটী চিটিত দেখিলোঁ ওৱান অফ দ্য ৱৰ্ষ্ট ফৰ্ম অফ চাইল্ড এবিউজ, য'ত ইমান এডুকেটেড ফেমিলি এগৰাকীয়ে, দম্পতীয়ে দুগৰাকী শিশুক ইলিগেলি কিনি লৈ আনিছে ক'ৰবাৰ পৰা, তাকো দৰিদ্ৰ পৰিয়ালৰ পৰা কিনি লৈ আহি পেলাই তেওঁলোকক মানে কি কয়, এইটো খেলাৰ বস্তু হিচাপে, এজ টয়জ দে বট দেম অলমষ্ট, আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ এণ্টাৰটেইনমেণ্টৰ কাৰণে আনিছে অলমষ্ট তাৰ পিছত যোনটো নিৰ্যাতন যিবিলাক টিভিত দেখিছে সেইটো আধা দেখা পাইছে মই শিশু দুগৰাকীৰ বডি দেখা পাইছোঁ নিজে I have seen that. I have seen the videos which the police had shown. আপোনালোকে ভাবিব নোৱাৰে যে অসমীয়া পৰিয়ালত এনেধৰণৰ নিৰ্যাতন চলি আছে So this is a kind of violence we have seen. So এইটো হ'ল কাৰণ একেইটো কনচেপ্ট আমি সদায় ভাবোঁ children are bereft of rights and we as adults will decide what needs to be done to them. এইটোৱে ডাঙৰ প্ৰব্লেম এই পাৰ্চপেক্টিভ যদি আমি চেঞ্জ কৰি পেলাই শিশুসকলৰ কথা শুনি তেওঁলোকৰ সন্মান সহকাৰে যদি তেওঁলোকৰ যিখিনি তেওঁলোকৰ নিডছ আছে বেচিক এচেঞ্চিয়েলছ আছে তেওঁলোকৰ যি ফিলিংছ আছে যদি বুজি পাওঁ সেইদিনা আমি শিশু অধিকাৰৰ যোনটো মিনিং অৰ্থ সেইটো বুজি পাব সক্ষম হ'ম
Coming to you, Diba, tell us something about your organization, how they work, very briefly, please.
So, as you just pointed out about that particular couple and the child, so I had the opportunity to go and meet those two children, and it was appalling. Nobody can ever imagine someone doing such an extent of horror to a child who's less than 10, and I couldn't sleep that night, honestly. इतने innocent बच्ची वो जिसके साथ उस couple ने पता नहीं क्या क्या करा है. It was so appalling. That gave me the thought that can we formulate some law by a severe punishment which probably they should not ever come out. No lawyer should be defending them. They're above all that because the kind of gruesome activity that they have done to the children is unpardonable, unthinkable under the sun. And we should now have a debate on the fact that can we change something like this? So NCPCR basically, National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, works basically on this aspect that can we revisit the laws, can we revisit them and can we formulate them in a much better manner, mostly because of the child that they are in their favor. So as I always quote, I will quote once again, our Prime Minister always tells us that don't think that the children do not have voting rights, therefore they can be neglected. Everything is very vote oriented. So if they don't have voting rights, doesn't mean that they do not have rights. So therefore we have to formulate laws, we have to formulate means so that their life becomes simpler. Now the task is actually humongous because we are talking from the age group of 0. 0 means a neonatal child, neonate. Then we are going to Anganwadis, where you know that Anganwadis, when the children come, what kind of food they are being served, how they are being treated, how they are being taught. The Anganwadis do not have water, they do not have mats to sit, and yet the children are there, they are coming there. Anganwadi Karyakartas are like overburdened with work. And then we move ahead and then we have age group till 18. So till 18 is a vast age group that NCPCR has to cover. We have to go across and find out about drugs, child trafficking, and so many other things. I also got the opportunity of visiting observation homes. I was just talking to ma'am. So observation home, I don't know how many of you even know what are observation homes, are places where juvenile criminals are kept. So they are not jails, they are observation homes. And the plight of the observation home is something that really needs to be covered. And that is again one task that I've taken personally. And I'm pretty determined that we should really work on them. Because as many children that I talk to, I realize that they're there because of probably some of the act of crime that they did at the spur of the moment. But do they want to come back? No. No one wants to come back. In spite of the fact that they have comfortable stay, in spite of the fact that they are provided with food, with bed, with everything, they still want to go back to their family.
Thank you.
And they don't want to come back. So that means they are a potential audience that we could skill and we could bring them back into the mainstream. So we have a lot of work to do. The task is really huge. But of course, as I said, that if you have a positive attitude,
Sure,
you can.
Sangeeta, এটা কথা সংগীতা খুদিব মন গৈছে মোৰ এজ এ সাইকোলজিষ্ট what would you say about the fact that এতিয়া national education policy 2020 তাতে children লৰা ছোৱালীক 3 বছৰীয়া লৰা ছোৱালীক স্কুল যোৱাৰ কথা কৈছে স্কুললৈ যাব লাগে তে হেতু কিছুমান মানে এডুকেশনিষ্টে they criticize it and they say it violation of child rights because their place should be at home at this tender age. What do you think as a psychologist?
Of course, I think the first school is the home, no doubt about it. Kintu etu apni sabo lagibo je kejon apunar parents ghorot thakibo paribo lora cheli logot ek number kotha karon school joatwe it is not meaning that you are moving them away from home. Aru kindergarten no jitu concept ase tar concept to ekebare beleg. It is more like a play school that you start off with. Aru initially ami prothomote teolokok prothomote ami humai nidu into curriculum or education or to reading writing also. So it's more important to understand that it is just a transition, which is a gradual transition from home to school and gradually to move into the formal system of education. Aru 3 বছৰত আপুনি যেতিয়া খুমায় 3 বছৰৰ পৰা 5 বছৰলৈকে যেটো আপুনি কাৰিকুলামো দেখে সেই কাৰিকুলামখনো আপোনাক খুব বেলেগ ধৰণৰ there's very less of any other reading writing which is going on but that does not say that আমাৰ অভিভাৱকৰ কামটো কমি না যায় কেতিয়াও হয় নহয় কাৰণ ঘৰত আমি হেখিনি আমি সাবই লাগিব আৰু হেতু কাৰণে মই ভাবো যে এটা ৰিলেশনশিপ এটা থাকিব লাগে স্কুল আৰু পেৰেন্টছৰ লগত সদায় কাৰণ বহুত সময়ত আমি দেখা পাওঁ যে স্কুলত এটা বস্তু কৈছে আৰু আপোনাৰ ঘৰত এটা বেলেগ কথা কৈছে and the child gets confused second কথাটো হৈছে আকৌ ল্যাঙ্গুৱেজ ডেভেলপমেন্ট হেতু সময়টো হৈ থাকে সো আপোনাৰ যদি দুটা তিনটা চাৰিটা ল্যাঙ্গুৱেজও হৈ যায় তেতিয়াও তেওঁলোকৰ খেলি মেলি লাগে আৰু most of important is that because children are going early teachers training becomes very important মোৰ ডাঙৰজনী ক্ষেত্ৰতে মই কওঁ যে তাই যেতিয়া আপোনাৰ প্লে স্কুললৈ গৈছিলে টিচাৰে মোক কৈছে যে তাই নেলেখে তাই ABCD তাই ক'ব কয় কিন্তু তাই নেলেখে মই কৈছো ঘৰতটো ভালকে লেখে তাৰছত কৈছে যে নহয় আপুনি এবাৰ আহিবচোন তো মই স্কুললৈ গৈ প্লাই কৈছে চাওকছে মই দি আছো আপ তেখেতে তাই নেলেখে তো মই এনেকৈ পেন্সিল এনেকৈ দি দিলোঁ দি প্লাই মই কৈছোঁ উঠোৱাচোন তুমি পেন্সিলটো তাই চিধা লেফ্ট হেণ্ডে উঠাইছে because she is a left-handed person কিন্তু the teacher was trying to teach her by the right hand so যেতিয়া immediately তাই লেফ্ট হেণ্ডৰ পৰা উঠালে she started writing so এই কিছুমান সূক্ষ্ম সৰু কথাবোৰো টিচাৰছে জানিব লাগে বুলি মই
কেনেকৈ হে হিমান কোমল বয়সীয়া ল'ৰা ছোৱালী মানে কেনেকৈ শিকাব হেতু জানিব লাগে
ৰাইট সেইকাৰণে টিচাৰ্ছ ট্ৰেইনিং becomes very important here
মানে প্ৰেছাৰটো একচুয়ালি দিব না লাগে মোৰ
প্ৰেছাৰ একচুয়ালি কাৰিকুলামত তেনেকুৱা একচুয়ালি সিস্টেমটো আছে য'ত প্ৰেছাৰ নাথাকে কিন্তু কেনেকৈ আমি ইমপ্লাই কৰিছো কেনেকৈ ইউজ কৰিছো কেনেকৈ আমি দিছো ইন্টাৰভেনশনটো হেতু ওপৰতো নিৰ্ভৰ কৰে কথাখিনি
প্ৰেছাৰ দিয়া কাৰণে এটা এক্সাম্পল দিয়া কাৰণে মোৰ মনলৈ আহিছে যে ল'ৰা সৰুতে নেশ্যনেল ফ্লেগ আঁকিবলৈ সিহঁতৰ ফ্লেগখনেই আঁকিবলৈ আহে যদি খুব শিকাওঁ নেশ্যনেল ফ্লেগখন আঁকক আৰু ভালকৈ তাৰপিছত পৰীক্ষাটো একদম বাৰ নেশ্যনেল ফ্লেগ আহিব আঁকিবা পৰীক্ষাত আহি গৈছে অহাৰ পিছত মই কৈছোঁ বাবা নেশ্যনেল ফ্লেগখন ভালকৈ আঁকিছানে সি কৈছে আঁকিছোঁ সদায় যে ঘৰত গ্ৰীণ আৰু অৰেঞ্জ দিওঁ আজি পিংক আৰু ব্লু দিছোঁ তাৰমানে সেই যে সদায় কৰোঁতে সেইটো অৱস্থা হৈ যায় মিগুৱেলৰ ওচৰত আহিছোঁ এইটো কথা লৈ পেলাই যে ট্ৰেফিকিংটো কিয় মানে আমাৰ অসম আৰু উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ পৰা অতি বেছি হৈছে মানে সেইটো খুব ভয়ংকৰভাৱে বেছি হৈছে বিশেষকৈ BTADৰ পৰা নহয় 40টি শিশু উদ্ধাৰ কৰা যায় ঘটনাটো সবৰে নিশ্চয় মনত আছে ছিকিমৰ পৰা most probably উদ্ধাৰ কৰা হৈছিলে মানে কিয় হৈছে ইমান উচ্চ হাৰত কিয় অসম আৰু উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ পৰা হৈছে আৰু কেনেকৈ মানে সেইবোৰ প্ৰতিৰোধ কৰিব পৰা যাব
হয় মাইনিবা এটা বহুকেইটা দিশ আছে ইয়াতে এটাটো হ'ল যে যিবিলাক আমি NCRBত যিবিলাক ট্ৰাফিকিং ডেটা দেখোঁ মেজৰিটিবোৰ কিডনেপিং এণ্ড এবডাকশ্যনৰ আণ্ডাৰত আহে এইটো সকলোৱে জানিব লাগে আৰু কিডনেপিং এবডাকশ্যনৰ মেজৰিটিবোৰ হ'ল ইল'পমেণ্ট কেছেছ এইবিলাক ৰোমেণ্টিক ৰিলেশ্যনশ্বিপ ল'ৰা ছোৱালীয়ে ভাল পাই পেলাই পলাই গৈছে মাক দেউতাকে কি কৰিছে গৈ পেলাই কিডনেপিং এণ্ড এবডাকশ্যন FIR দিছে আৰু NCRBত ৰিফ্লেক্ট হৈছে যে অসমত একদম ইমান বহুত ট্ৰাফিকিং এইটো নাম্বাৰ 1 ইয়াতে অকণমান ডিছক্ৰিপেঞ্চি এটা আছে দেই দ্বিতীয় কথাটো ইয়াৰ অৰ্থ নহয় যে বা ইয়াৰ মানে নহয় যে ট্ৰাফিকিং বা শিশু সৰবৰাহ অসমত নাই একেবাৰে ইয়াৰ বহুতো কিছুমান ছ'চিয়েল ৰিজনছ আছে কিছুমান ইকনমিক ৰিজনছ আছে আৰু কিছুমান জিঅ' পলিটিকেল কাৰণ উই অলছ' শ্বেয়াৰ বাউণ্ডেৰিজ উইথ বাংলাদেশ চ' আমাৰ মাইগ্ৰেশ্যন ইছ্যুজ আছে অসমত কি হৈছে এতিয়া ছ'চিয়েল ইছ্যুজবোৰতো আমি জানোৱেই বিকজ এতিয়া লট অফ ভাইলেন্স এথনিক ভাইলেন্স তাৰপিছত যিবিলাক নেচাৰেল কেলামিটিজ যিবিলাক ফ্লাডছৰ সময়ত কেতিয়া কোন সময়ছোৱাত বেছি হয় বা কোন জেগাত বেছি হয় যদি চাই নাম্বাৰ 1 হ'ল ট্ৰাইবেল বেল্টছবিলাকত য'ত দে হেভ এ হিষ্ট্ৰী অফ এথনিক কনফ্লিক্ট চ' কনফ্লিক্ট হোৱাৰ পিছত কি হয় তেওঁলোকৰ ৰিহেবিলিটেশ্যনটো যিহেতু নহয় চ' ভালনাৰেবিলিটিটো এক্সটেণ্ড হৈ যায় চ' সেইবাবে এইবিলাক মানে হটস্পটছ ফৰ ট্ৰেফিকাৰ্ছ আহি পেলাই ট্ৰেফিক কৰি লৈ যোৱা ছেম উইথ ফ্লাড এৰিয়াজ ৰিলিফ কেম্পছৰ পৰা কি হয় বহুখিনি যিহেতু ৰিহেবিলিটেশ্যনটো পুনৰ সংস্থাপনৰ দিশটো একদম শ্ল' হৈ যায় সেইকাৰণে কি হয় তাৰ পৰাও শিশুসকলক ট্ৰেফিক কৰি লৈ যোৱা হয় বিভিন্ন ঠাইত থাৰ্ড হ'ল ৰিভাৰাইন এৰিয়া যোনটো চৰ এৰিয়াজ চ' এইটো অফক'ৰ্ছ ছ'চিঅ' পলিটিকেল চব মিক্স এটা যিহেতু বেকৱাৰ্ড এৰিয়াজ তাৰ পৰা খুব ইজি ট্ৰেফিকিং কৰা চ' আৰু এটা ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট জেগা হ'ল এগেইন আকৌ ছ'চিঅ' পলিটিকেল টি গাৰ্ডেন এৰিয়াজ য'ত ডিমাণ্ডিং ৰাইটছ অকণমান হিষ্ট্ৰী এটা আছে অফ ছ'চিয়েল মাৰ্জিনেলাইজেশ্যন পলিটিকেল মাৰ্জিনেলাইজেশ্যন আছে চ' কি হয় তেওঁলোকক these children are forced to live in a constant state of vulnerability. इफिले को demand बेसी demand for example हरियाणा उसमें there is a problem of sex ratio তাৰপিছত কিছুমানে আকৌ job opportunities they think their job opportunities there they are being lured and taken there so and some of course are unsafe migration কাম কৰিব গৈছো গৈ পেলাই দেখিলো এটো কাম কৰা নহয় আসলে কি কৰিলে মোক কাৰোবাৰ ঘৰত বেছি দিলে But I had actually loved someone. I went and married that guy. And that guy went and sold me to his friends. So it is a very complex problem. But at the heart of it is, of course, the ongoing socio-economic and political issues in the region. Or secondly, juntu demand factor juntu ase for children. Now, problem solve it is not easy. You cannot have a magic wand to solve, get a problem. But I think social welfare is one. আমি ইমান সব ট্ৰাফিকিং কথা ক'লে we always talk from the perspective of law enforcement. পুলিচে একো কৰা নাই পুলিচে ধৰি ৰ'ব লাগে no I think law enforcement is one part of it but to prevent it we need to increase social welfare যিমান social welfare increase হ'ব সিমান the children can be prevented from a problem huge problem like child trafficking
দুটা কথা এড কৰিব খুজিছো মেঘালয়ৰ লগত সো যেটো কৈছে যে which is right যে বহুত সময়ত we think that it is trafficking but it is actually elopement and especially in the tea garden areas that we see আমি বহুতখিনি কাম কৰিছো মাইন ইণ্ডিয়াৰ পৰা চাহ বাগান বিলাকত আৰু তাতে আমি দেখিছো যে এটো এটা আপোনাৰ সামাজিক প্ৰথা এটা নিচিনা যে ইলপমেন্ট কৰাটো কোনো ডাঙৰ কথা নহয় এটা লাহে লাহে যেতিয়া আমি ইউনিসেফৰ লগত যেতিয়া তেওঁলোকৰ এই চাহ বাগান বিলাকত প্ৰায় আমি 800 চাহ বাগান বিলাকত আমি লাইফ স্কিলছ বোলা বস্তুটো জীৱন কৌশল বুলি যেটো কয় হেতু এডুকেশ্যন যেতিয়া আমি দিবলৈ আৰম্ভ কৰিলো তেতিয়া তেওঁলোকে নিজেও বুজি পাইছে লাহে লাহে ছোৱালীকেজনীয়ে যে এই কথাটো আমি কৰিলে আমাৰ জীৱনটোত কি হ'ব পাৰে you know what the future will be for us so plus তেওঁ যেটো কথা কৈছে rehabilitation in the with the refugees hawk naba camps bilakot that's very very important kintu rehabilitation ot apunar hoda he physical rehabilitation kintu apunar psychological first aid bela bostu to italeke amar aha nai
okay thank you coming to you Dibba again so there are some dangerous reports of being children being abused on the basis of caste and religion in some places in India. So, what do you think? How to tackle these things? It's a very pathetic, very dangerous report.
Personally, anything related to a child becomes pathetic. One. Two, let me just elaborate a little on Miguel what he was saying about trafficking. I'll come back to this because I have something to add on to what you were saying. So I visited Jharkhand, and there I came across one particular person who was responsible for abducting 5,000 girls. 5,000. Now, 5,000 girls were brought to Delhi on the pretext of the fact that they were probably used as house help. Now, my humble request and my question to everybody and audience at large is that हम कितनी जगह जाते हैं जहाँ हमने छोटे बच्चों को अपने घर पे काम के लिए रखा हुआ होता है. जो लोग हैं वो एजुकेटेड हैं क्योंकि वो जॉब पे जाते हैं, इसलिए उन्होंने पीछे किसी एक हाउस हेल्प को रखा हुआ है और वो बच्ची है या बच्चा है. तो क्या हम रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं हैं उस चीज़ को बढ़ावा देने में? We are also equally responsible. One, how many times we have visited a dhaba where we say छोटू चाय लाना और वो छोटू दौड़ के चाय या पानी लेकर आता है and we are okay with it. तब हमें रियलाइज नहीं होता कि ये छोटू कौन होगा, कहाँ से आया होगा, इसके माँ बाप कौन होंगे. So we also are responsible for keeping a closed eye and not responding and not being responsible and responsive to this particular kind of a situation. So my humble request to all of you here is that if you come across something like this, at least please be aware and ask questions. Why should not you raise an eyebrow and ask कि ये कौन है ये लोग, कहाँ से आए हैं, कहाँ जा रहे हैं? 5,000 लड़कियां अगर झारखंड से गायब हुई हैं, तो क्या एक गांव की आंगनवाड़ी कार्यकर्ता को नहीं पता था कि ये लड़की वहाँ से निकल गई? और पता था तो उसने रिपोर्ट क्यों नहीं करा? और रिपोर्ट करा तो अधिकारियों ने उसके बारे में एक्शन क्यों नहीं लिया? सो इट्स अ वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स सिचुएशन. बट अगेन, हर कॉम्प्लेक्स सिचुएशन का एक ऐसा थंब आंसर नहीं होता है. इट हैज़ टू हैव अ मल्टीफैक्टोरियल, pointed kind of an answer that we need to achieve. Now, as you asked that religion के बेस पर क्या बच्चों के साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो रहा है?
Religion, caste. It's very less in northeastern part of India, but other part we got news.
So there are sporadic incidents that happen, but they are not the norm.
It's not the norm.
That's
but
not the norm.
News is very dangerous news.
But yes, I agree. I do agree that there were incidents which were very rampant, which was there in the society earlier on. But the society has moved on. And one key to this particular kind of a situation is education. So once the society gets educated, the society gets mature, then all these things become a time of the past. We still have sporadic incidents. I do agree. We had one recent incident in Uttar Pradesh, which caught the eye of the entire media, and it became a subject of a lot of interest for everybody and a debate as well. But then whatever happened to that teacher, to that child, was taken action. And these incidents are to be abhorred. They cannot be encouraged at all. And we in a civil society can never encourage something like this. So therefore, it is a thing again, casteism and religion-based discrimination towards children is a thing of past, should not be there. And again, laws are getting stricter day by day, and we take action. And one good thing is that everybody is a journalist now because everybody has a mobile. So everybody takes videos and it becomes viral. So we have a mojo that's called mobile journalism.
People do usually.
Yeah, so everybody is a mojo now. So that's the lingo.
Yeah.
So that makes our task much easier.
Yeah. So Sangeeta, we haven't yet touched one subject because our subject, subject is vast. Time is very short. Time is very short. Some questions has to go. Yeah, but I have not touched one thing. Sangeeta, maybe it's a last question. How parenthood defined means when is the right time to tell a child about the adoption or surrogacy?
Okay. Parenthood বুলি ক'লে I wish we had a checklist to say, we fill up the checklist and if we get, so many marks, you will be eligible to be parents. No, but unfortunately, we don't have that. Parenthood legally, jitu ami ko je yes biologically hole to apnar biological connection eta ami parenthood to ahe kintu tar bahiro jite ami adoption naba surrogacy or any other reproductive system or ami keneka dhona adoptions bu koru hekinit it's more of the intent to be a parent. Am I emotionally ready to be a parent? To bring somebody else into my life? And hey, intent to logot, tar logot aro eta bostu jorito hoi thakibo, the care and the love that I'm going to give to the child. Ar hey care and love or logote, titia kan hekhini pray arambo hoy. And it happens even before the child is born. No? The connection that we have got. So protective environment that I create koribo lagibo jodi parenthood ma kotha patu. Our protective environment to okol khali me parents or logote nohoy. Ami eta socio-ecological model opra sabo lagibo. Jot ami saw je thik ase the child is in the middle. Tar pisot apna next level to hold parents anaba caregivers aita kokak jun logot thake tar pisot of the community and the society or tar pisot hol amar jitu policies and the systems tato hekini kesama risk factors thake protective factors gutekini thake titia he ami he parenthood a positive environment for the child ami hetu create koribo parim
buji paisu thank you amar somoy ekebare komi aise minale dubar mok reminder dile এতিয়া আমি প্ৰশ্নৰ উত্তৰবিলাক দিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিম I request Mrinal to take questions. Sorry Mrinal for
There are a few questions and I have been really criticized by some of my young friends for not taking their question. It is not my intention. I do not know any one of you, so I just follow the things and some of the questions came late or time did not allow me to have more than 4 or 5 questions. Niharika, Lakshmi Bai College, straight away I am going, not even looking at anything. Come and straight.
Hello sir, hello ma'am. We all know that sex education is important in today's generation. And ma'am sir, while the states like Jharkhand and Delhi and other cities are able to give importance to this topic, but unfortunately, it has not in Assam. So do you think that sex education should be given at least in the primary schools of Assam? And for how long will this continue? And what steps can be taken to tackle this kind of ignorance on sex education?
Sangeeta?
That's my question.
You take it.
Okay.
And by the way, before Sangeeta replies, I advise, request Anisha Kashyap, Delhi School of Economics to be ready and come to the thing. Delhi School of Economics, Anisha.
All right, I'll very quickly get to your point. Sex education, if it is adolescent and reproductive and sexual health bully, arsh bully eta kotha ase. So that has been already been implemented in Assam. It is through life skills which has been implemented. Aru apnar CBSE has already done it, but the state schools were lagging behind. But that has also come in now. In fact, I had developed a module for them for RMSA. আপোনাৰ এটা সৰ্বশিক্ষা যেটো সমগ্ৰ শিক্ষা বুলি কয় আগতে আৰএমএসএ কৈছিলে আৰু তাৰ তাতে আপোনাৰ ক্লাছ 9 ৰ পৰা there has been a system of imparting life skills. Apart from that, the new education policy talks about social and emotional learning, which also includes the psychosocial aspects. And definitely I agree with you, apna good touch, bad touch, appropriate touch and inappropriate touch has to be taught from a very young age. Ar hetu karone parents ok ami hetu aware koribo lage. The teachers are already aware of it to a large extent, but the parents also have to be aware of that.
The lady from DSC. And Anushka Srishti, are you there in the room? Are you there, Anushka? No. Lady.
Good evening, esteemed panelists. My question is that
Anushka is there?
As part of trafficking young female children and teenagers into forced prostitution comes the harsh reality that the victims themselves prefer not to come out of the trap, partly because of the fear of social ostracization and also because of the financial stability that they receive. If the victims blindly accept their fate, how can we ensure mobilization against human trafficking?
So we'll answer. Nikhil may be the right person.
It's a very interesting question. I have already touched upon it first. Prevention is key. So I said enhance social welfare. So once trafficking is done, we make such a hue and cry about it. But when a child is not getting food to eat in a village, we hardly speak about it, right? Sometimes you hear some media channels with extra dramatic music showing the plight of little children somewhere, but it's not a regular issue. It's rampant. Vulnerability is rampant. Now, the only way vulnerability can be addressed is through social welfare. So that has to be enhanced. Secondly, you're talking about once a child is rescued, the rehabilitative process. Even there, even young people like universities, colleges can play a huge role. In fact, I have been working on a program in Sonapur where there's huge trafficking. And children are scared to come back because the community rejects you. So what we did, we reached out to the nearby universities, gotten them to do regular awareness sessions about the vulnerability of trafficking, of what a girl child is forced to undergo in the sex racket, what happens to her, how she breaks down physically and emotionally as well. So when you make the community aware, they are in a position to take them back. So young people, I see a lot of young people from Delhi University. When I went to Delhi University, and we did a lot of such work when I was here. But now as well in Assam, we are working with colleges and universities so that this awareness can reach to the children or the communities in the last mile. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. And Anushka, this is the last question and this closes. This is so good a question. You'll be happy to know that my last television show, I arrived in here on Friday. The Friday night, this particular subject was my show, which was recorded. But anyway, go ahead. That is the last question.
Good evening. So my question was that we initially discussed mental health when it comes to kids. So instead of talking about the direct abuse that kids from unprivileged places get, even kids from very privileged families are usually used as the, source of follows and likes, on social media by their own parents. They lack a lot of privacy in their lives. So that again, dismantles their state. Should there be some laws for that as well?
Dibba?
Dr. Dibba, that will be your questions. Very good question, Anushka. Thank you for raising.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. So there are already laws working and we are reformulating it again. Now we have come up with an entire handbook for the television media and the entertainment industry as well. Because that is one problem that we are practically facing and seeing every day. Because Dance India Dance, I don't want to name anybody, sorry. But some kind of certain these shows project children dancing on songs which probably we would get appalled. इतना छोटा बच्चा इस तरह के गाने पे कैसे डांस कर रहा है और क्यों? उनके क्या राइट्स हैं, उनके क्या लॉज हैं, कितनी देर उनको काम करना चाहिए, पढ़ाई कितनी करनी चाहिए, रेस्ट कितना करना चाहिए, वो फोटोग्राफ आनी चाहिए कि नहीं आनी चाहिए, किस तरह की आनी चाहिए, मूव्स कैसे होने चाहिए. We have formulated an entire handbook. And that handbook has been given to all the media personnel and that has recently been released. So we are working on all these things and I request personally again, everybody now is happy being on Instagram. Everything is an Instagram story or a reel, and then we would ourselves, बच्चे तो बच्चे कुत्तों कितने बड़े-बड़े Instagram channels हो गए. So अगर आप अपने ही बच्चों को advertise करने के लिए आप खुद ही बनाएंगे, so that means you are yourself creating a platform for your child where probably it could be hampered by social media. So my request, humble request is to everybody that please use Instagram for good things rather than for advertising such kind of issues. So आपका बच्चा मर्फी बच्चा नहीं है, निर्भा बच्चा भी नहीं है और उसको बनाइए भी मत. That's it.
Thank you.